Hi and welcome to the latest Barnsley on Film. I'm Michael, the digital curator at Barnsley Museums, and in the next 30 minutes or so, we are going to show you some of the highlights from our film archive. It's an archive that has developed over the last few years thanks to funding from the National Lottery Heritage Fund. It was a project called The Joy of Sound and Vision which made our film and sound collections available online for the first time. If you head over to YouTube later, there's more clips on there, and if you head over to SoundCloud, you can listen to our podcast. Some of you might have seen a few of these films before. They were used in the 2018 exhibition Barnsley on Film. This time though, I'm going to provide extra commentary, and we'd like you to interact too. You can leave comments in the section below and tag anyone that you think you may recognise. So we start with the oldest film in our collections, from 1915. Although it's not actually filmed in Barnsley, there's lots of Barnsley boys and men in this clip. This is the Yorks and Lancs Regiment, otherwise known as the Barnsley Pals. It shows them in York en route to France in 1915. So now it's back to Barnsley for the next clip, as the town celebrates the coronation of George VI. The coronation itself took place on the 12th of May 1937, and as this film and our record show, Barnsley spent the week celebrating in many different ways.
While London, the centre of the British Empire, was rejoicing at the grand and glorious coronation of His Majesty King George VI, the inhabitants of this town and district, headed by our own coronation mayor and corporations, were also celebrating the happy imperial event. Coronation Day, Wednesday, May the 12th, 1937, which the King made a general holiday, will be remembered by us all. Rich or poor, peer or peasant, it didn't matter. Everybody entered into that true British spirit of rejoicing and paying homage to our new and beloved King and Queen. Long may they reign, was the cry of the tens of thousands of loyal subjects who thronged the streets in every town and village. The joy bells rang out their message as if to say, Britishers, the King is crowned, long live the King. A new chapter in the Empire's history has commenced. Peace and prosperity be with you all forever. Epoch-making scenes were witnessed in all parts of the town. Treats and gifts for the young people, celebrations, festivities, and entertainments of all kinds were provided. The following happy events, filmed by our cinematographers, need no words from me. Many Union Cinema patrons will see themselves on this screen. Now, see how many friends of yours you can recognize. If you do spot someone you know, tell them, for they might not know themselves that they've been filmed.
This is also the oldest colour film in our collection. and it's a brilliant snapshot of Barnsley in the 1930s. It's part of a much longer film which we hope to show you in a few weeks' time. We now move on to the 1950s and scenes you don't see anymore, and rightfully so. All wild animals are banned from appearing in the circus in Britain as of 2019. This film was the annual visit by Billy Smart and his circus. Part of this film was donated by Councillor Linda Burgess.
When Billy Smart's circus came to town, my father filmed it, and he filmed it, them doing, as they used to do, a parade around the town. And we've got this film of them doing a parade around the town hall. And it's just amazing because there are elephants just walking around there. And there are no guards between the circus parade and the people and children watching. I mean, nowadays it would just never be allowed. So there were the elephants, and there were acrobats on the backs of obviously big trucks, doing somersaults on the back of trucks with no guard around the trucks at all.
For our next film we stay in the 1950s, this time 1954, and the first visit of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip to Barnsley on October the 27th, 1954. As you can see, there are huge crowds, but little in the way of security. We have other images that show the Queen stepping off the train and quite casually walking up Regent Street. The royal couple make the short walk from the courthouse train station up Regent Street, where they are welcomed at the town hall. This clip ends on Elgin Street, which is lined with well-wishers as the Queen makes her way through the rest of South Yorkshire. You can spot in the background the bustling Barnsley market. We've got more celebrations in this next film. Some of you might remember Pogmore Feast. Some of you might even be in this film, so please let us know. We think this footage is from the 1960s. If you think you spot anyone or know a date, please get in touch with us.
What really makes this town of ours tick? The answer is coal. Coal and its byproducts. It is from the impurities left from coal after treating for coke, which mainly include coal tar, light oil and ammonia, are derived dyes, explosives, perfumes, antiseptic, plastic and man-made textiles. It is true that the changeover from a purely agricultural to an industrial community began with the manufacture of wire about the 16th century, and was followed by the introduction of linen making in the middle of the 17th century. But there is little doubt that Barnsley owes special thanks for her prosperity in the 20th century to the presence of the rich coal-bearing seam beneath her boundaries. Before this date, it is feasible that our ancestors, while aware of the presence of the mineral, made no great effort to work it because they had a plentiful supply of wood near at hand, and which was easily obtained. Today, Barnsley is the centre of the Yorkshire coalfield, which has the biggest potential in the country, and which provides employment for nearly half of the male population in the locality. This prosperity has not been gained without a price paid in the lives of men who toil in the bowels of the earth, with death and danger as their constant companions. Let us freely admit that the miner's job is a grim one, but let us also agree that the very nature of his calling has helped to mould within the character of the Barnsley miner those saving attributes of grit and gumption, and greatness. No wonder that the figure of a miner with pick in hand is given prominence on the coat of arms of the county borough. The town makes a natural shopping centre for the villages around, and to this largest open-air market in the north of England come thousands of shoppers every week. For visitor and resident alike, Barnsley Market has much to offer. Something for the young. Something for the not-so-young. Something for everyone. Bananas by the bunch. Apples by the pound. Or it might be a bargain remnant to make a dress. And then again it might not. Local Olympic medalist Dorothy Hyman looks at some cups. Definitely not the race-winning type she usually collects. It was in 1249 that a charter was granted by King Henry III to hold a market day each week on a Wednesday. Where the thousands throng these days, it is worth recalling that when this charter was granted, it was likely that the customers did not number more than a few hundred, and only that on a fine day.
If you tuned into our last online film show, then you may have seen these last two clips, Barnsley in the 1960s. Here's some market footage which you might not have seen before. If you recognise any of these traders, please get in touch. And we're assuming that this is from some kind of fancy dress event on the market. Slightly shaky footage there, the sign says Oldfields Dining. And one of Barnsley Market's most recognisable traders, Joe Edwards. Into the 1970s now and a shorter clip, The Flying Scotsman. Let us know if you're in the crowd. Staying in the town centre for our next clip is a Whitsun parade in the 1960s. Whitsun was a large event. It celebrated on the 7th Sunday after Easter, which means that this year Whitsun falls on the 31st of May. A very quick run around Barnsley for this next film. The town hall is just out of shot for most of the clip, and we don't have an exact date for the race, but if you do know, please let us know. It's recorded in the early 70s, we know that much, because the library is under construction in the background. We do have a more exact date for this next film. It's the Queen's Silver Jubilee in 1977 and celebrations in Barnsley. The party makes its way up Laves Lane, past where Newell's post office is now, and the celebrations make their way to Laves Crescent. Please tag anyone that you think you might recognise in the comments section. The next film is all about the 13th and 18th Royal Hussars, who were granted the freedom of Barnsley in September 1977.
Mounted, the commanding officer, Colonel Stephen, the adjutant, Captain Southward, and the guidon party ride past the days to lead the parade, and the vehicles swiftly move up Church Street and round the roundabout to return in squadron order for the drive past. The drive past consists of Land Rovers, Ferret Scout cars, Saracen, Scorpion and Scimitar light tanks. HQ Squadron maintains a speed of 10 miles per hour, C Squadron 20 miles per hour, and B Squadron roar past at an impressive speed of 30 miles per hour.
On to the 80s and the Mace Parade, which took place that year on 13th of July 1985. This was the same day as Live Aid, although that didn't stop people from Barnsley from gathering en masse. So many 80s references in this clip. Some of you watching were probably there.
lads has been throwing now something like 3 hours, and they're trying very hard now to keep the scoring rate up. Roger Crossley's just thrown his darts there. Peter's on now with his scores, trying very hard to get his arm into action after all the throwing very stiff. Nigel keeps throwing well, who keeps coming on and relieving people. Chris, who's just thrown, keeps his average scores up around about 80s and 90s. As you can see in the background, the white sheet is the hourly rate of scores. And on the 18, the average is around about 19,000 an hour. Unfortunately, the B team has fallen well behind. People who's calling the scores out has done such a tremendous job. It's very hard to follow on with 4 people throwing at darts, adding them up, calling the scores out, then pulling the darts out. Lads are passing them back to the throwers so his time isn't being wasted in any way that we can avoid. Providing that the scoring rate keeps up, I think around about 5 or 6 o'clock today, Sunday, the 7th of March, we shall see the end of the 1 million. As you can see, people are sat in the room, there's players sat in, and people are staying to watch the finish who's supported the charity throughout, along with Rothman and Danny, their rep, who's not present at the time. He's in, but he's somewhere else, probably in the smallest room.
The score stands at 868,000. 18 thrown against B team at 762,000.
So the final 2 clips, that was a darts competition at the Red Lion in Worsborough, and we finished the show with a trip to Dodworth and a game of Nipsey.
Dodworth is part of the Barnsley League of Nipsey players. It is a game that has developed from Nairn Spell, which has a history dating back to times of the Danish invasion of Britain.